Good evening, everybody. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the 22nd Better Government Competition Awards Dinner. Next, I'd like to congratulate, obviously, the runners-up. All the ideas were excellent ideas that will help our economy. I'd also like to thank a personal friend, Jamie Bush, who introduced me to the Pioneer Institute about 2 years ago. And finally, I'd like to thank Shawnee, Jim, Michaela, Liam, and the rest of the hardworking crew over at the Pioneer Institute. My submission this year for the Better Government Competition was entitled Manufacturing Revitalization. As we know, our great country and once prolific middle class was built upon and sustained on a solid foundation provided by the manufacturing industry. Anyone who's had an economics course in high school or in college knows that you can't sustain a world superpower on a service economy. We need to make stuff. Strong manufacturing is key to maintaining our status. Unfortunately, in the mid-1980s and continuing through 2010, there was a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs out of our country to other foreign low-cost labor pools around the world. In fact, just in the past 12 years alone, Massachusetts has lost 37.5% of our manufacturing jobs. This has been exacerbated by the constant barrage of negative press perpetuated by all the news channels and outlets. In turn, we've created what seems to be a hopeless situation for U.S. manufacturing. The consequence was that we became self-fulfilling prophets, and we drove our workforce away from manufacturing careers. The good news is, or I should say the opportunity is, about 2 years ago, manufacturing started to come back to the United States. There's several reasons for this big shift. Labor costs overseas have been increasing for the past several years at a rate of about 14% in China. Lead times and cost to ship products from the low-cost poles back to the U.S. is costly, and in a lean environment which manufacturing drives for, it adds a lot of lead time to it. There's been a lot of quality issues. We've all read about the quality issues in any of the papers or periodicals. There's fear of counterfeit parts, especially in the military right now. Lockheed had some bad parts come in. We're not sure where from, but there was a big press article in Military Times about that. Fear of losing proprietary information. Some countries like China don't even practice commercial law, so proprietary rights and intellectual property don't stand a chance in some of those countries. And more recently, which is a positive, productivity in the United States is actually beginning to increase, so we're starting to level the playing field. Unfortunately, this silver lining comes with a shrouded, thick gray cloud. More specifically, the reshoring of manufacturing jobs is upon us, and we're not prepared to take advantage of it. This is a very rare and timely opportunity that we need to be able to take advantage of right now. Why are we not prepared? The answer is we don't have enough qualified, skilled people to fill these newly available positions. I know this may sound ridiculous, considering we're in our 5th consecutive year of record unemployment. I think right now we're still at about a 7.3% unemployed, and you could probably add another 5% of underemployed or marginally employed to that. There's an even more dismal statistic that if you dig around in the Bureau of Labor Statistics you can find, and that's the employment to population ratio. In 2007, that ratio was at 63%. In 2008, when we started our recession, it plummeted to 58.5%. It's still there today. So that tells you that we don't have enough people going back to work. No matter what the unemployment number is, the workforce doesn't have enough people in it right now. Clearly, the present state of economic affairs is not very encouraging. The jobs training systems in place right now is well devised and properly executed, considering the barriers that exist. However, it does not achieve the results needed to make a marked improvement in our overall employment number. Let me explain. The way it works today is as follows. Commonwealth Corp in this state, the workforce investment boards, the regional employment boards, and the career centers, as I mentioned in the video, try to find folks that need training programs that will lead to jobs. Some of the issues that arise are as follows. There aren't training programs out there for all the skills that are needed to fill the open jobs. In some cases, we find the candidates to fill the training classes, but they don't finish the class for one reason or another. We've had some really unbelievable numbers at the Merrimack Valley Workforce Investment Board, where 30% of the people actually finish the training and get to a job. But by far, the largest barrier to success is timing. As I mentioned in the video, timing is key. I liken it to a three-legged stool. You need all three legs for it to work. You need a candidate, you need the correct training curriculum, and you need to have a job at the end of the training. Getting these three components aligned and well-timed can be a daunting task. For instance, in my business, I need people to expand, and I need them right away. Last year, I turned away business because I turned away business and I didn't buy capital equipment because I didn't have people to run them, okay? And this wasn't just any stuff. This was stuff I was already making. My customer asked me to increase the volume, and I had to turn it away because I couldn't do it. That's unheard of in the manufacturing world, guys. It really is. It's unprecedented. On the flip side, the manufacturing industry is still very competitive. So employers can't afford to hire extra people waiting for the work to come. In business, we equate success with survival. Some of the best solutions for success are not overly complicated and are relatively easy to execute. This is why I took a simple, pragmatic approach to solving our national unemployment dilemma. What works well is OJT, on-the-job training. OJT has some very positive characteristics. The timing issue I discussed earlier is eliminated altogether. The employer hires the candidate at the onset of the training. Therefore, the candidate is instantly off the unemployment rolls. The state funds half the wages while the employee trains. This shares the risk with the employer, and it can move a lot of them off the fence if they're on the fence about hiring somebody. It'll move them off that fence. Once the employee is fully trained, the employer then takes over the full wage. At that point, the employee is now a sustained person who's productive and basically can add value for the company. They also will gain a better sense of self-worth because they've done something. Now, these are folks that are unemployed and long-term unemployed. They've been unemployed for 20, 30 weeks. So for them to get back into the workforce is huge. Also, by putting people back to work, all of our woes with the budget starts to go away as well. Because now we've got more people paying into the tax base. I have had 100% success with OJTs in my company. My motto has always been, if the candidate brings the right attitude, I will build the aptitude. The only obstacle to success with this program is funding. In the past, funding for OJT programs has been very limited. That is why I'm suggesting that we tap the unemployment insurance fund to cover the 50% contribution and put people back to work. OJTs can be developed for any manufacturing industries, electronics, it could be textiles, obviously machine shops, whatever. It can be designed for that. I firmly believe, if done correctly, we can trim 2% off the national unemployment number. I really do. The OJT program is 100% effective because no funds are used until the employee is hired by the host company. In other words, they're off the unemployment ranks immediately. Think about it for a minute. Where else can you get 100% guaranteed return on your investment? In closing, I want to emphasize the simplicity of the program. No new infrastructure or additional government is needed to execute this plan. All the pieces are in place. It's just a matter of changing a funding stream or giving control of the funding stream over to the Workforce Investment Boards and Commonwealth Corp. Our country is in desperate need of OJT as outlined to permanently and markedly improve the economy. One final note I wanted to make is presently the U.S. manufacturing industry is sitting on over $1 trillion in capital that could be used to grow this economy. Consider what I just discussed about the inadequate pipeline of qualified candidates to fill open manufacturing jobs. Now add to that the present indecisive and vitriolic government atmosphere, coupled with the vacillation on Obamacare, and you can see why most employers are in a suspended state of wait and see. So what I say is we need to let the OJT program be the starter's pistol to get them out of the blocks and get this economy running again. Thank you.